位观众朋友，大家下午好，欢迎来到宁波国际赛道。我们这里进行的呢是 China GT 2019年中国超级跑车锦标赛第3回合的 GT3、GTC 以及单一品牌赛组的比赛现场。那么大家看到在我身后呢，一共是有18台来自3个组别的赛车。那么 GT3 呢，一共是有8台赛车。大家可以看到杆位的车手呢是来自63号的 Toro Racing 的藏坎和 Adam Christodoulou。然后这2位车手呢，在去年呢也是有过参加个别的站点，然后今年呢也是非常开心能够欢迎到2位车手再次回到2019年 China GT 的战场上。那么 GTC 组别的杆位呢，则是由25号的 Extreme Motorsports 的车主宋波和 Dominic Ang 获得。然后刚才也提到呢，单一品牌赛组是我们今年新开的一个组，然后专门为保时捷911 GT3 Cup 车型而设立的。而它的杆位车手呢，则是由来自69号的车主陆文龙和 Jackie Wu 获得。Hello and welcome to the 2019 China GT Championship for round 3 of the GT3, GTC and single make trophy class. We're right here at the Ningbo International Circuit. So altogether we have 18 cars behind us ready to take the start from across 3 classes. And starting from pole position in GT3 is number 63 Toro Racing car, shared by Adam Christodoulou and Eric Zhang. And for GTC cars, the pole position is taken by Dominic Ang and Song Bo from the number 25 Extreme Motorsport car. And as for the single make trophy class, it's a new class dedicated to the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car. And that pole position is shared by Daniel Liu and Jackie Wu in the number 69. So next up, let's have a little chat with Eric Zhang, the pole sitter for GT3 class. 那么接下来呢，我们和今天 GT3 的杆位车手藏坎小聊2句。好的，那么现在在我身边的呢，就是今天获得 GT3 杆位车手的藏坎和 Adam。然后首先从藏坎开始吧。然后今天的话，然后我们 Adam 昨天是做出了一个非常厉害的表现，然后今天能够从杆位发车。但是后方的话有 Daryl Young， 然后还有 Jody Fandon 这样的 Pro 车手，有没有压力呢？
压力肯定是非常大的，因为不仅仅是后方的 Pro 车手，包括前面2排的 M 车手也是非常的有实力。当然，隔壁的BMW 也是非常有竞争力的一台赛车。
好的，谢谢藏坎，然后祝你好运。So Eric just told us, yeah, he's definitely feeling the pressure, feeling the heat from the AMG behind them, Daryl Young and BMW of Jody Fandon, as well as the front row starter Lam Yu. But mega job done by Adam yesterday, setting the fastest time of the GT3 class. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, the team have worked really hard, and so the car felt really good. It was. I just had to push as hard as I could for the qualifying, and we're on pole. So both of us had good qualifying yesterday. We're feeling confident, so we just need a clean race, and hopefully we'll be at the top at the end.
谢谢 Adam。然后 Adam 刚才也跟我们说的话，然后昨天的话表现也是其实很出色，车的整个的表现也是非常的性能也是非常的好，所以希望今天的话有一个非常顺利的比赛。那好的，我们接下来的话采访今天同样是前排发车的林宇。车组的 FIS Team AI 的 Nick Yellowly. Hello, Nick. Also only missing the pole position by what was it 0.089 seconds yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty close. Glad to be that close, to be honest. Always good to be starting on the front row. Lam's going to start the race. I'm sure we'll be able to keep a good position, and then I'll get handed over and try and do my job at the end of the stint.
Cheers, Nick. Good luck. 然后那个刚才也跟我们说呢，然后昨天的话其实是非常的接近啊，以0.089秒的差距，然后错失杆位，所以今天的话希望能有一个非常强劲的表现。林宇先发，他跑第2棒，所以祝2位车手好运。然后我们接下来呢看一下上一站雪邦站的精彩视频。Let's take a look at the highlight videos from last time around in Sepang. Back to you guys. 那么现在在我身边的呢是来自25号 Extreme Motorsports 的车手宋波，然后也是今天的杆位车手。那么宋波呢，在上一站雪邦站呢，也是在 GT3小试牛刀，然后今天呢回到 GTC 又是获得了杆位。然后今天的话，对比赛有什么期许呢？
这个赛道它没有长弯，下压力我们的车在这里发挥不出来，所以只能保住第3或者第2的积分吧。
好的，谢谢宋波。So Songbo just told us at this track the feature of this track is doesn't have a lot of long high-speed corners, so downforce is not much to play into. It's not a factor to play into here at Ningbo. So for them, it's best to sort of trying to keep the 2nd or 3rd position and finish on the podium. 好的，那接下来的时间我们转回给解说间 ，Back to you guys.
Thank you, Andrea. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon and welcome to Ningbo for round 3 of the 2019 China GT Championship. We have GT3, GTC and the One Make Trophy action for you here today in this combined grid. And I'm delighted to have alongside me in the commentary booth, GT4 driver Yves Volt. Now, Yves, you've driven this track at Ningbo, 23 different turns, 4.01 kilometers and 25 meters of elevation change. What's it like to drive around here?
Yeah, well, it's very different to other tracks. It's pretty technical. It's got a lot of uphills and a lot of bumps. The curbs are pretty hard for the car, so it's definitely hard for the drivers. We don't really have much overtaking opportunities, so that's also hard. But I think it's going to be an interesting race. We have a lot of good drivers here. So yeah, looking forward for it.
And we're just seeing the overlay of the track there. You can see this, the very tight, twisty dogleg section at the back there. Lots of elevation change up there. I've heard from some of the drivers, Yves, that it feels like barreling around a go-kart track.
Yeah, it's a bit like a roller coaster up there, to be honest. It's really hard for the car, hard for the driver. So yeah, it's pretty technical out there. You need a lot of skills to be fast up the hills.
And what about overtaking? Because it looks like quite a narrow track, and obviously 23 turns over just 4 kilometers. That's a lot of turns in not a very long lap. How difficult is it to overtake here?
Well, you need to. It's not like in Shanghai, for example, where you have like a really long straight where you can use the slipstream, because you just don't have that here. So you need to actually prepare for overtakes really well. You need to be really close to the car, and you need to be pretty good to get the car in the right position to do an overtake. So yeah, it's also that is really hard for the drivers to get the right position to overtake, as well as not to lose any speed.
Well, there we are looking at the pole position car. That is Eric Zhang and Adam Christodoulou, who we heard from on the grid there. The 63 Mercedes AMG, sitting pretty. In 2nd position, it's the FIS Team AAI BMW of Nick Yellowly, and his teammate Lin Yu will take the 1st stint in this afternoon's race. You can see there the silver shields over the windshield there. Very hot today in Ningbo, just helping to cool the cars, cool the drivers. In 3rd place on the grid, it's the 88 car of Darrell Young and Jeffrey Lee. Darrell Young, the Hong Kong driver, the professional driver, and he will be starting this race. In 4th position, the number 77, another Mercedes AMG, and that is Frank Yu and Jazaman Jafar. Frank Yu, the Hong Kong driver, starting the stint, and Jazaman Jafar, the Malaysian driver, who will be taking over in the 2nd portion of the race. In 5th position on the grid, just a quick wave there from Jody Fannin, the British driver, and he is the pro driver in that Pro-Am pairing, and he will hand over to Betty Chen, who will take over for the 2nd stint of the race in that number 91 FIS Team AAI BMW. 3 BMW M6 GT3s on the grid today. In 6th position, it's the number 2 D2 Racing Mercedes of Kuo Kuo Shin and Liao Yang, and Kuo Kuo Shin will be taking the 1st stint there today. Next on the grid, the number 92 car, another BMW, 7th place, and that is Ivan Lee and Betty Chen. Next up is the number 25 car, the Extreme Motorsports Radical, driven by Dominic Ang and Songbo. Songbo, the Chinese driver, will be taking the 1st stint there. And next, in 9th position, appropriately enough, it's the number 9 of Cui Yue and Lawrence Liu. And you can see there all the mechanics, all the engineers, everyone off the grid now. You can see the safety car at the front with its indicators flashing. And the car's getting ready to go on one lap formation lap. It's a rolling start here, as it always is in GT racing. The safety car will lead them around, and you'll see the cars weaving from side to side, desperately trying to get temperature into those tires and brakes as they prepare for 1 hour's racing. Yves, what's it like on that formation lap? What else are you doing in the car there?
Basically, the main focus is just to get the tires up to temperature and the brakes, because it's easy to get punctured, especially on the high curbs now. And since it's a really short lap, and the temperature is not that hot here, so that's why it's really important to get the tires up to temperature, not to get any punctures throughout the race. So I think that's all what we have to do in the car now to get everything running.
And how about the grip levels of the track in general? I heard from Nick Yellerly yesterday, who was saying to me that in the wet, it's actually surprisingly grippy here. Now, obviously, we're not going to see any rain today. You've got lots of bright sunshine. But what about just in general? How is it, the track?
Well, it's pretty grippy in the rain because it's raining quite often here. So all the rubber on the track is getting flushed away. So it's good that we have had like 3 days now where it was sunny. So actually the track is generating more grip. So by each race and each session we've driven on the track improved a lot, just because we have more rubber on the track.
There you see the GT3 Championship standings, and Nick Yellerly up front there with Junsan Chen. Junsan Chen not driving this weekend, but Nick Yellerly up at the front there.
Yep.
In second position in the championship, Jeffrey Lee and his teammate Alessio Picariello, another driver not here this weekend with racing commitments elsewhere. And third in the championship after a very eventful race last time out in Sepang, it's Frank Yu and Jazeman Jafar. There you see the BMW safety car leading the cars around, the cars weaving from side to side, desperately trying to gain some heat into those tires. There we see the GTC championship standings, and Zhang Dasheng and Zhou Bi Huang sitting pretty in first place there. Daniel Liu and Jackie Wu in second place, and the rest all following on. What's going through your mind as a driver, Yves, on the formation lap? Well, just before the safety car comes in, what's the most important thing to be thinking about there?
Well, I think you're just ready for the lights. Like, you just focus on the lights when they get off, and you're a little bit careful about the other cars. Maybe you have a missed brake or something like that. You just pretty much want to get through the corner safely for the first one, and then again checking if the tires are up to temperature and just checking that the whole car is feeling well and just getting mentally prepared to fight for the win.
And everybody getting ready for the start there. A quick shot of race control and all the different cameras around this Ningbo International Speed Park to give it its full name. The car's just negotiating the tight left-hander at the back of the circuit now.
We're starting to formate now. You see a little bit of weaving around still, but now you kind of start to heat up the tires with the brake a bit, because there's not much room to actually go left or right because you have cars next to you. So yeah, you can see the cars are stopping and going faster just to get the brakes up to temperature, which then generate a certain amount of heat in the tires.
Yeah, very difficult to go 2x2 around this tight section of the track. We saw a bit of drama here in this morning's race, and obviously hoping for a very exciting race in this GT3, GTC and one make trophy combined grid. As the safety car peels off into the pits, the cars will line up 2x2. If the race director is satisfied with the way things are, then those red lights at the top will go green, and they do go green, and we're racing here at Ningbo, and it's a good start on the right-hand side. And that is the BMW going into the lead. So, Lin Yu, Nick Yellerly's teammate, going into the lead, but going a little bit wide. You see going 4 abreast there. A lot of cars taking the escape road on the left-hand side, using all the road and a little bit more. There's plenty of runoff there, but not too many incidents, and it looks like Eric Zhang has reclaimed his lead, the number 63 Mercedes, and the Mercedes going up the inside into second position. That was. We couldn't quite see which one, and that is the 88 Mercedes of Darrell Young. Darrell Young, of course, the pro driver in that driver pairing, so we might expect him to be very quick in the early portion of this race.
Yeah, it was a really good start by Eric. As you can see now, the BMW and the Mercedes are all fighting now, so Eric has a little bit more, because he has nobody in front of him, so he can basically just pull off a bit and get himself a little bit of space. And as you can see now, the overtake is trying to come to get
yeah, and the BMW challenging Darrell Young, but the Hong Kong driver holding firm, and now the number 2 Mercedes challenging, and that is Kuo Xin up into 4th position now. So a good start from Kuo Xin, making up a couple of places from 6th on the grid. But the 63 of Eric Zhang already opening up a bit of a gap now. Obviously, he's the one, as you say, Yves, he's got the clear track in front of him. All he's got to worry about is putting the hammer down. And I suppose he's not going to get slowed down because he doesn't have to go defensive. He's got nobody immediately behind him either.
Exactly, so that's why you gain most of the speed. If you have nobody behind you, you can get a comfortable lead, and you don't have to push that much, and you just let the guys behind do all the work, and then, yeah, if you're lucky enough, you can keep that pace throughout the race, and then you just swap over to your next driver, and hopefully he will keep the same pace as well. So a really good start by Eric. Yeah, let's see what's happening in the back here.
Yeah, Darrell Young still in second place, but being pushed all the way there by Lin Yu in the BMW. Good start by the BMW driver, really keeping Darrell Young honest, but still in third position. Darrell Young still in second place. Eric Zhang still very much in the lead here at Ningbo as they go through the tight left-hander, and I thought the Mercedes was having a little look and going a little bit wide there. Yeah. How difficult is it, Yves, when you try and go up the inside and then maybe compromise your line in the next corner?
Well, yeah, the track is not really wide, so that's why you, if you like have a little bit over speed, you go wide, and then the other cars obviously have an advantage and just pass you, and you will lose a couple of positions. So that's another really, the disadvantage, let's say, of the track compared to others, because it's really tight and everything. So that's why you need to have the car in right position, right speed to get good overtake running. So.
Yeah, and into the pits there, that is the number 69 Porsche of Daniel Liu and Jackie Wu. Obviously an unscheduled pit stop, so very disappointing for those two.
Yeah, it's always bad early in the race. It's really disappointing.
Yeah, well, and early in the GT4 race, Alex Fontana had an unfortunate incident which meant that he had to have an early pit stop as well. But meanwhile at the front, no such problems for Eric Zhang, who's still holding a lead over Darrell Young in second place, with Lin Yu in very close attendance. The BMW looking dizzy, but it's very difficult to overtake around that corner there. Here, let's see a replay of the start. And Eric Zhang on the left there just got out-dragged a little bit by the BMW, who took the lead going past the little kink there, but then Eric Zhang had the inside line for turn 2, and then Darrell Young able to follow him through into second position for the second of those two left-handers. And in fact, that's the BMW running in third position. That looks like the number 91 BMW of Jody Fannin. My apologies. The number 90 BMW of Lin Yu. It looked as if he just ran a little bit wide there, and that car is now running in sixth position. So we didn't see that there. A lot of these BMWs do look very similar. We didn't catch that the first time round, but it's Jody Fannin, of course, the pro driver. So here we go, and Jody Fannin going up the inside of Darrell Young, is he? And it looks as if, yes, he's just made that move stick. So Jody Fannin up into second place, Darrell Young being forced wide there, and another one of the Mercedes challenging now, the 88 car, going up the inside of Darrell Young, who loses 2 places in the space of just 2 corners there.
That was a good move. I think the BMWs, they have a lot under pressure now. They can feel that they have the speed in the car, so that's why you want to get past everyone as fast as they can, so you can extend the lead.
And in fact, and Darrell Young there lost another place there. So Darrell Young down now into 5th position. So up at the front, it's still Eric Zhang in the 63 car in second place. Now Jody Fannin, the number 91 BMW. Darrell Young, the 88 car. Let's just see when they go over the line to start another lap. Let's see, a lot of positions changing in the last few laps. Darrell Young in the 88 car is now in second place.
Yeah.
So Eric Zhang in the 63 Mercedes down into 4th place. Jody Fannin in the 91 BMW in the lead. There he is on the left-hand side of your picture, just putting a lap on the 69 Porsche that we saw in the pits just a moment ago. So Jody Fannin in the FIS team BMW, the number 91 car in the lead. Darrell Young, the number 88 car in second position. And in third place, the number 92 car.
Yeah, it's really important for the Porsche now not to block anyone. Obviously, they're all racing, and he's getting overtaken already. So
yeah,
really
sensibly moving out of the way there for some of the leading cars to come through. That Porsche is competing in the new for this round, the one make Porsche category, so we would expect that car to be a little bit slower, and you see there he gets off the racing line, lets the quicker cars go through. That is the number 2 car of Guo Xin and Liao Yang. Guo Xin taking the first stint as we look at the number 90 BMW there of Lin Yu, which started in 2nd place, ran a little bit wide, and now in 6th position. So with 7 minutes of the race gone, 53 minutes still to go, and plenty of movement in the opening laps there, Yves.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, everybody's trying to get the positions now since the cars are all together. So now it's pretty much the easiest for them to gain positions. That's why Jody was pushing really hard to get on that P1 so he can extend the lead, and everybody's trying to do that now. Some good racing in the first couple of corners. We had no crashes, only, as you can see now, another Porsche GT3 Cup retiring.
Yeah, that is the 52 car of Steve Yin, which had some problems earlier in the weekend, wasn't able to set a representative qualifying time, so looks like more problems for Steve Yin. There you see.
Looks like he's retiring now. Yeah.
Well, he's getting out of his car, and obviously with no co-driver, he would have been driving the whole race on his own. So Steve Yin, the American driver, looks as if he's out of the race, unfortunately. And here we have an onboard shot, some very good camera work indeed. This is Eric Zhang in the 63 Mercedes. You get a wonderful impression just of how hard the drivers are working when you see from inside the car like this. We hear him going up through the gears as he goes along the straight. That car in 4th position. This is Darrell Young coming into your picture now, the number 88 car in 2nd place. Still the meat in the BMW sandwich with Jody Fannin, the 91 BMW in the lead, and the 92 car driven by Betty Chen in 2nd position at the moment. There we see Darrell Young going around the tight left-hander.
Yeah, obviously see how much the car is moving, so he's pushing a lot now to close that gap to Jody, to get to a better position also for his teammate. That's really important now to use those fresh tires until the peak is gone to actually keep up the pace. So yeah, I think he's definitely pushing now as well as Jody, so it's going to be pretty interesting after the pit lanes open and then swap drivers.
And what is the tyre wear like with these cars? Because we have 1 hour races here, and they come in for their mandatory pit stops, and we rarely see them actually change tyres, so they can clearly last the whole race distance.
Well, yeah, it depends on how hot it is. Like Sepang last race, for example, was really hot, and the tires got worn pretty quick, so that's why you saw teams changing tires more often. But I think here it's not that hot, but it's really technical. Like, it's really hard for the car. We have a lot of drop downs on the curbs and everything, so that's why I think it's hard for the tire to last long. And also, but that's a good job. That's a job for the team or for the driver to manage the pace, so that either they have to change the tires or not. Obviously, it's better not to change because you just have less time in the pit. So yeah.
And we're looking at the battle now for 3rd place, the 92 BMW of Betty Chen, heading a queue of cars. That is the 63 car of Eric Zhang in 4th position, the number 2 Mercedes driven by Guo Xin in 5th place, and the number 90 BMW currently driven by Lin Yu in 6th position. So the battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th with 10 minutes gone in the race, and just kicking up a little bit of dust there, Betty Chen, clearly having to work very hard to keep these cars behind. Yves, as a driver, what's it like when you're at the front like this and you've got 3 cars bearing down on you? How difficult is that to cope with?
Well, it's obviously a lot of pressure on you, especially when you're running on P3. It's a podium and everyone behind you is just really throttling for the podium, let's say. So you're trying to push as hard and do not really a lot of mistakes. But it's hard to stay that one zone, and that's really the key of a really good driver, not to do any mistakes or big mistakes where the other drivers can actually benefit from. So yeah.
Eric Zhang just having a little bit of a look there, but not really an overtaking spot there as they come over to start lap 7 here at Ningbo. And what about for the likes of Eric Zhang and Guo Xin there? They're in the middle of this pack, so they're looking ahead to overtake, to attack, but they've also got to be on the defensive as well. Yeah, well, usually I think they're just waiting somebody to get in a fight with another car and then making a mistake with both cars and then just go through. That would be the easiest for them. But obviously, the guys in the middle, they are just really under pressure because they have a car behind and they also have to focus on the car in front. So it's hard for the driver even more to
being that one pack fighting for the podium and having cars behind them. So it's pretty hard probably now.
And Eric Zhang getting very close now to Betty Chen, but very difficult to pass at this Ningbo International Speed Park. Not a lot of straight lines. Eric Zhang going a little bit wide there, and Guo Guoxin having a little nibble, but it looks like the status quo remains the same. Betty Chen still third, Eric Zhang still fourth, Guo Guoxin in fifth, and then Lin Yu in sixth at the back of that pack there.
So this could actually be good for Betty now, because the two Mercedes are starting to fight now, and obviously like everyone is driving another line, as you can see now, and they start to lose speed, and now you see there will be a bigger gap. Yeah, so just because of that one move, and now Betty gets the pressure off herself. So
yeah, but the pressure very much on Eric Zhang, with Guo Guoxin climbing all over the back of him, and then Lin Yu at the back looking to pick up the pieces if these two Mercedes squabble over each other. But Betty Chen, just a little bit of daylight emerging between Betty Chen and Eric Zhang now.
Yeah, that definitely takes off the pressure off her, so she can focus now on actually closing up the gap to the second. And the Mercedes are still fighting really hard, so you can see they're using all the track they have just to get as much speed in the corners as they possibly can.
And of course, when you're fighting in a pack like this, then your lap times tend to suffer. The last lap by Betty Chen, a 1:48.5. And you compare that with the leading two, Jody Fannin, his last lap a 1:44.1, and Darrell Young a 1:45.3. So the leading two, the two pro drivers, as we might expect, lapping considerably quicker than the cars behind them. Now, what about the tactics in terms of the driver swaps, Yves? Because we've got the first two cars here, you have the pro drivers going first, but some of the other cars, you have the AM drivers going first. As we look at, that is the 307 Porsche. That was in 16th place, that of Wu Pei. And I wonder if we might see a safety car. It looks as though that car is beached very much on the racing line.
Where he is. I mean, it looks like he's on the racing line. It looks like T2. Turn 2, I think.
Well, very difficult to tell from this angle, but it certainly looked like he was beached on a curb, which would suggest he's on the racing line. And if they can't get rid of there you see, there is that car.
If it doesn't get moved, they will definitely put out a safety car, because you see all the GT3s are going around, so it's really dangerous now for him.
Yeah, and we saw a couple of safety cars. Well, they're showing the green flag there because presumably there was a yellow flag before that. Double waved yellows at turn 10, so perhaps the race director, the marshals, think they can get rid of that stricken Porsche without throwing a safety car, which would neutralize the race and force everyone to bunch up, as we see Guo Guoxin going up the inside. Does he? The two Mercedes going side by side, but Eric Zhang just holding on to fourth place.
They just give each other a fair amount of room to fight for the position. And it's good to see, to give, like, you know, not any crashes, to give them a fair battle. That's what we're really looking forward to.
Yeah, some good racing here, and it looks as if, well, he's kept the engine running, Wu Pei. It looks as if he might be able to rejoin. He's certainly got off the curb and off any immediate danger, so perhaps we won't have a safety car after all. Meanwhile, Guo Guoxin weaving this way and that, looking for a way past Eric Zhang, who goes wide, and surely now this is Guo Guoxin up into fourth position as Eric Zhang wide and down into fifth place, Yves.
Well, yeah, it's, you know, now there was the pressure he had, like a little, maybe like 5-10 meters too late on the brakes, and he had no, you know, he has to use the runoff a bit. Obviously lost the position, but I think he will like keep up to the two Mercedes and keep him busy as well for the rest of the race.
So this is sort of what you were talking about earlier, you know, the pressure of having someone behind you and then hoping that, well, from the person behind, hoping that they can force the driver in front into a mistake, and actually Eric Zhang there forcing his way back through. How did you read that, Yves?
Well, I think it was a little touch in the rear on the brakes, but I mean, you know, it's a little touch is always fine. Makes it all a bit interesting as long as it's not too much. But yeah, like that pressure, it's really, you know, you need to, like I said, a small mistake can cause a whole position, as we just saw. He probably was like 5 meters a bit too late on the brakes, and he had to use all of the runoff and lost the position, but he gained it back. And I think that D2 won't give up yet. So it's going to be a good battle, for sure.
Yeah, a very good battle. We're a quarter of the way through the race, 15 minutes gone, 45 minutes to go, and third, fourth, fifth, and sixth still in the same picture. So all these four cars and drivers clearly very evenly matched, and some good racing at the start of this race. And Betty Chen, it looks as if she just got a little wide going through that corner, but we didn't see. Meanwhile, that is the number 25 car of Sombo, currently running in 11th position and 4th in the GTC category. And that is the Radical, certainly very distinctive design there, very much unlike any of the other cars. And good to see such a wide variety of cars represented on this grid today. Mercedes, BMW, Radical, Lamborghini, Porsche and Audi all on the grid here. And Yves, all these cars with their own very different characteristics and strengths and weaknesses.
Well, yeah, it is, you know, some cars fit better to some other tracks. I think the Mercedes are pretty strong, and the BMW as well, as you can see, are pretty strong in Ningbo. But it always depends on the track layout, how good.
Oh, Eric Zhang just going up the inside
We're
there,
going a bit wide, and the Mercedes, and the BMW,
he's running a little wide,
and the BMW benefits from it.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about earlier. So when two of the cars in front are squabbling over position and maybe fall over each other, then a car further behind is often waiting to pounce, and that is Lin Yu in the number 90 BMW, now up into 5th place. So Eric Zhang down to 6th, just looked as if he ran a little bit wide and off the racing line. And how difficult is it, Yves, when you run wide like that, you go offline and you lose grip, presumably?
Yeah, exactly. So you have to slow down the car more eventually to get that grip again. Oh yeah, now as you can see now, back. Yeah, he gained the position back.
Yeah, it looked like Lin Yu himself ran a little bit wide.
Oh, and he went wide and
he's lost it.
Yeah.
Dear oh dear. Can he keep the engine running?
Yeah, he can.
Yeah.
Well,
so, well, a nice dramatic moment there for us from Eric Zhang.
Yeah. Oh, well, that was the pressure again. He got just gained the position back, and then just and again.
He's lost it again.
Maybe it's a puncture in the rear.
Well, perhaps.
Because it looked for same.
Well, he spun to the right there, and then I think he spun to the left, didn't he?
He stayed on the curb because the curbs are pretty aggressive to the tires, so maybe he has some kind of tire issue.
Well, he's moving. Is he at racing speed there?
Yeah, now he is.
Well, he looks
and
like
the Lamborghini out as well.
Another one in the green. That's the 918 car, and that is.
Keep running.
But he's managed to keep the engine running. That is Joby Huang, who is driving that car in the GTC category. Was in 10th position, but he's managed to keep the engine running.
And that's exactly what I mean. Like, the track is so technical. Like a small mistake can, cause a spin, or as you just saw, maybe a little bit too fast. He lost the grip on the exit and then just went. So that's a good example of how technical the track actually is, and really bumpy as well. So it's really easy to do mistakes here.
Well, 2 spins in quick succession for Eric Zhang, but he's got going again and doesn't appear to be in any bother. Doesn't appear to have a puncture or anything wrong with his car. You can see him there just behind the 68 Radical now. So by my reckoning, that puts him in 8th position. And that Radical is in the GTC category, so we might expect Eric Zhang to overtake soon. Meanwhile, here's Kuo Xin climbing all over the back of Betty Chen. But Betty Chen holding firm, still in 3rd position. Kuo Xin there, it looks as if he was taking a much wider line into the corner. Was that to maybe get a better line out of it, Yves?
Yeah, I think it's to get a better exit early on the throttle. Just to prepare for the long straight again, to be really on the tail of the car. As you can see now, probably with a good slipstream, and maybe on the brakes, and if it's enough. So that's pretty much a key, just preparing, because those corners, they're too tight and they're not wide enough to actually do an overtake. So that's why you just use those corners to prepare. And as we see now, the 304 car retiring.
It's the 307 car of Wu Pei, and it looks as if that's it for Wu Pei for the afternoon. So unfortunately, another retirement there. But meanwhile, going back to that battle with and another spinner. Dear oh dear, I can't see who that is. That looks like the Audi.
Yeah.
I believe that's Jeffrey Z in the number 98 Audi. Is it? Yes, the number 98. So another spin here. We've had quite a few thrills and spills so far in this GT3, GTC and Porsche category. And
doesn't look like he can keep it running really.
Jeffrey Z going very slowly as Eric Zhang goes up there into 7th position, past the Radical there. But Jeffrey Z, it looks as if his race has run. He was saying earlier in the week that car is brand new. They've only just received it, and they were just looking to use this Ningbo race weekend as a bit of a extended test session, really.
Yeah, as you see now, Jody's on in his own. He's pretty much just flying off. Like you see, there's no car behind him. He just used that. When he pushed in the beginning, he just used that to extend the gap, and now he's really benefiting from it. So yeah, and then you see an overlapped car, the number.
That's the 66 Mercedes. That is Min Hung and Lin Nan in that car, and the 69 Porsche there. Just good to see some of the cars a little bit further down the field that we don't see so much of. That is Frank Yu there, running in 6th position, the 77 Mercedes, in a bit of a race of his own at the moment. No one immediately in front or behind him, but well, before we had all that excitement, we were looking at the battle between Guo Xin and Betty Chen. Now, what's going through your mind if you're the driver at the front there, trying to be defensive? How do you keep someone behind? How do you change your driving style to do that?
Well, you basically just, you know, in some corners, especially in Ningbo, you have to open. You like use late apexes. You just try to close that in, so the car is actually not able to hit, like, to pass you on the inside. And then you're also trying to block his way, so he's slowing down a bit. And yeah, that's. But it's more. I think it's harder for the guy from behind you, because he's trying to make a little bit of pressure on you. There we start flashing the lights, and we just try to confuse the driver in front. So, but without actually losing speed. So it's also hard for the guy behind us. Both.
So when we see cars flashing their lights here, is that the driver trying to distract the driver in front, or just a way of saying, here I am, I'm coming through?
Well, I think it's both a bit, like, because sometimes you just get a bit, like, some drivers might become a bit insecure when, like, there's a guy behind you flashing the lights all the time, and it's just all, like, on your tail.
It looks as if Darrell Young got a little bit out of shape there.
No, so basically it is just to make the driver a bit more nervous, put a bit more pressure on, to show him, hey, I'm behind you, I want to get past, I have to speed as well. It's just a way to show that he's behind him and just make a little bit more pressure.
Well, Betty Chen still holding her own there,
He's doing a great job with defending, I have to say.
Yeah, still ahead of Guo Xin.
A bit of oversteer, probably keeping on the inside, too closer, so he can't get through.
Betty Chen going, Guo Xin going all the way around the outside, and he's made it through.
Yep.
Guo Xin up into 3rd place. I don't think I've seen anyone overtake there so far this weekend. Is that a usual passing place?
Not really, actually, because, like I said, you have a lot of direction change in there, so that's why you keep everything really tight, so that was really an unusual move.
Well, Guo Xin certainly forcing his way through into 3rd place now, and he'll want to make up for lost time. Betty Chen still in 4th place, still in very close attendance.
We have pit lane opening in a minute, roughly.
Yeah, the pit lane should be open in just over 1 minute's time. We're approaching the 25-minute mark. And that is the 4th place car now of Betty Chen. 3rd place, Guo Xin, a very experienced China GT campaigner.
Yeah, coming back to your question about the strategy with the M and Pro drivers. So what you usually want to do is you put, well, if you have the choice, you put the M in first, since the pro driver is usually a bit faster, and then because you have like safety cars in the beginning, which is really likely to happen because all the cars are closer together. There are more battles going on, so that's why you're trying to put the M in first, and then after the pit window's open, you put the Pro in, and he can do a final push to gain some more positions.
Well, interestingly, the top 2 cars that we have at the moment, Jody Fannin in the 91 BMW and Darrell Young in the 88 car, they're both the pro drivers in those driver pairings. So the pit window should be open in just about 5 seconds' time. The clock is about to tick down to the 25-minute mark. There we go. The pit window is now open. Now, Yves, I would expect to see Jody Fannin and Darrell Young go quite long into this pit window, so that they're in the car for the greatest length of time. Would you expect that too? Yeah,
well, I think they come in after barely before the pit window is closing again, just because they're the pro drivers, and in China GT we have to either the M or the Pro has to start one race, and since the Pro started on both, I think they're gonna make a longer run for them.
Here we are, the first of the pit stops. That is Lawrence Liu and Cui Yue coming in. Cui Yue handing over to Lawrence Liu, and that is the number 9 car in the GTC category, well up there. Currently running in 12th position overall and 4th in the GTC category. And the positions are likely to be a bit topsy-turvy for the next couple of laps. There is the 77 car of Frank Yu and Jazeman Jafar. Frank Yu, another one of the amateur driver pairings, handing over to Jazeman Jafar, very experienced pro driver. So for the Pro-Am driver pairings where you have the Am driver going first, we might expect those drivers to be coming in around about now, whereas when the pro driver is driving first, as in the case of Jody Fannin and Darrell Young, we might expect them to wait until the clock ticks near the end of the pit window.
we see Adam getting in the car behind them.
Yes, that is the 63 car. So Eric Zhang has come in as well, and Adam Christodoulou, the British pro driver, also coming in to take his stint. Meanwhile, at the front, Jody Fannin hasn't pitted yet, as we thought he wouldn't. He's still pounding around at the front, putting in.
I just wonder if Betty is still in or not, because as much as I am aware that she's the Adam driver, I think she is. But yeah. But she had I think maybe she's still out for fighting the D2 Mercedes and trying to keep the position, because I think she had a good run for them. So
yes, yeah. And yes, Jody Fannin's teammate Betty Chen there, and the number 90 FIS Team BMW Nick Yellerly's teammate Lin Yu, and the 92 BMW is Ivan Lee and Kevin Chen. So 32 minutes, 32.5 minutes having elapsed now, and that is one of the Mercedes cars. Can't see the number just yet. But you see there, so what's going on here, Yves? How hard is it when you're doing the driver change? What's the mechanic doing there to try to help you?
Well, usually it's sometimes we swap with the mechanics to get the belts on. Like sometimes the drivers are actually doing it, so we only have one mechanic coming from the right side in, and the driver is just helping with the seats. Sometimes mechanics are doing that. So basically what we're doing is we're disconnecting the radio from ourselves. When we come in the pits, we have to get as soon as we stop, we have to get the belts untied, and then we jump out, and then our other drivers jumping in. Then we have to make sure that the bell is actually on the hand system. We have to connect the radio again, have to put the safety net on, and then we close the door, and then everything like tighten. He's probably going to do himself. As you can see here now, just looking for the radio and just tighten the belts a bit more.
Yeah, that is the number 75 Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo, the YC racing car of CJ Huang and Huang Tao. CJ Huang taking over for the second portion of the race. Meanwhile that is the number 2 car, now driven by Liao Yang.
Both cars haven't pitted yet. Now Jody's coming in.
That's the 92 BMW coming in, and that is Kevin Chen. My apologies, I've been calling him Betty Chen for half of the race. Very difficult to know with these BMWs, they all do look very similar, but Kevin Chen coming over to take his stop, and he'll be replaced by Ivan Lee in the 92 BMW. And it looks like they're going for a tyre change there, Yves.
Yeah, well, I saw that the 77 AMG did the same thing. So maybe they just want to go safe and get a little bit more of time out. Maybe other teams aren't doing that. They're just going to try to do the pit stop as fast as they can and just get the advantage of having the tyres on.
And of course, no fuel stops in China GT, so the fuel that they start the race with is all they've got. So towards the end of the race, does the car feel different, because obviously you've got an empty tank instead of a full tank?
Yeah, well, by the time you drive, the car's just getting lighter, which you will feel on the brakes and cornering. It's just easier for the tires as well. So at the end, you should get, especially now with new tires, you should get a bit faster, because you just have less weight in the car. And just braking is getting a lot easier. Corner speed is much better, and the tires don't get used that hard.
Meanwhile, there we look at the number 90 car, now driven by Nick Yellerly, the British pro driver, a BMW factory driver. He's taken over from his teammate Lin Yu. That car currently in 6th position, but Nick Yellerly, you can be sure, will be putting the hammer down now. He's got half an hour still to go. We've just ticked over the halfway point in this 1-hour race, and that is the 91 car. Jody Fannin did not come in for his stop just yet, I don't think. We didn't see that BMW coming in.
The D2 cat caught up pretty quick to Jody. So
I wonder if the D2 car is actually 1 lap down, and that's still Jody Fannin still pounding around putting the laps in, because the timing monitor here has the number 2 car in 5th position. So if Jody Fannin hasn't come in for his stop, then it would appear that he's still pounding around in the lead on his own, as he negotiates the left-hander there, the number 91 FIS Team AAI BMW.
They have to come in now, otherwise the pit lane would close before they come in. So also need enough time. Obviously, we have a limited. We have a certain amount of time. We have to stay in the pits. And yeah, I think he will come in now.
Do you have to? Did you have to have left the pits by the time the pit window closes, or do you just have to have entered the pits?
I think you have to be out of it, because otherwise the light will go red, so you can't exit.
In any case, here comes Jody Fannin now to make his pit stop. And he will hand over to his teammate Betty Chen, not Kevin Chen, excuse me.
Also changing tyres.
And they're also changing tyres, interesting. So does that suggest that there's a high degree of tyre wear on the BMW then?
Or yeah, possibly that, or they're just trying to, you know, get a little bit more extra speed out of the car. As you can see, there was quite a bit amount of smoke coming out in the front. There was some rubber burning off the brakes, which is pretty much normal. But yeah,
is this track heavy on brakes? Because you've got a lot of hairpin bends, there's presumably a lot of energy going through those brakes.
Well, it's a lot of braking, but we're not really on the high speed. So in GT4, for example, we come up to 5th gear. Not sure about GT3, but it's a lot of braking, but we not break down from such high speeds. But it's certainly a lot of.
And how fast are they going to be going? What sort of top speed are they going to hit around this circuit?
Well, I have no idea about the GT3, but I think GT4 is like about 190 only. Because we only
kilometers per hour.
Yeah. 200, or no, actually more, maybe 210, 220. Because we only get up to 5th gear, and then the short is not long enough to. You know, reach 6 gears. I think like 210 to 220.
Well, there goes Betty Chen out for her stint of the race, just ahead of one of the Porsches there. Betty Chen taking it nice and slow as she leaves the pit lane. And the timing all a little bit askew at the moment, because we need to wait and see where everyone is once the pit window closes, which will be in about a minute and a half's time. The 69 Porsche there, down in 15th position of Daniel Liu, and still there.
I think the D2 didn't stop yet. The D2 Mercedes, because yeah, there he is. He stopped before.
That's the D2 Mercedes. I think we saw the D2 Mercedes coming in. I think Kuo Xin handed over to Liao Yang, and is that Nick Yellowly's car? That is the number 90. So that is Nick Yellowly there. Up now into 3rd position. Liao Yang down into 4th in the D2 Mercedes. So Nick Yellowly in 3rd place now, and setting off in hot pursuit of Betty Chen, who is in 2nd place. And that is the 88 car, so Darrell O'Young coming in as late as he possibly could and handing over to Jeffrey Lee.
Yeah, just connecting the radio. So see the drink as well. There's a left drink in the car. So just make sure that the radio and the drink is connected properly. You know, he's holding the safety net, which we have to connect as well. So yeah, I think it looks like a good pit stop, a good timing. Let's see if they can get out by time.
Yeah, 20 seconds to go until the pit window closes, and off he goes, Jeffrey Lee. And we'll have to wait and see exactly where that car is once the dust settles on all the pit stops. But Jeffrey Lee coming out of the pits now.
That was really close.
It must feel like an eternity when you're in the pit lane and you're just sitting there and you can see all the other cars whizzing by.
Well, yeah, it's always a bit hard if you know you have to still wait a couple of seconds in the pits. But in the end, you're just focusing on actually just getting the car to the speed you want it to and push as hard as you can for the final 25 laps. So you're really just focusing on that one particular job. Yeah, that's pretty much what you're thinking there.
So here is Jeffrey Lee now, the number 88 Mercedes. He's got one of the radicals, that's the number 25 radical, now driven by the Malaysian driver Dominic Ang behind him. And the timing on the left-hand side of your screen there has got the number 88 in the lead. Let's wait and see when that crosses the line, if it is indeed still in 1st position. The timing goes a little bit confusing when everyone's taking their pit stops at different times. It takes a while for everything to reset, but hopefully all will become clear very soon as you see the car there hopping over those curbs. Is that quite distracting as a driver when you're sort of hopping over those curbs like that? You can see him again just doing it there.
Not really. It makes, because the cars, if you have the right setup, the car is, it's not really affecting the balance of the weight or of the grip. So that's why it's pretty good to go over the curb like that. And you just want to be in a good, have a good line. And that's why we pretty much have to. But it's not really distracting too much.
And going down that downhill right-hander, we saw lots of cars have problems there earlier in the race. How difficult is it to do that? Because that looks like hard braking and you're going downhill at the same time and turning right.
Well, you're actually you're not braking that hard. It's just like the drop down. It's pretty much like a jump. You literally jump down the crest, and it's just a lot for the car to do. Like grip and tires, they're just working really hard, and also the car for the suspension, it's really hard. So in GT4, for example, you actually like touch the ground once with the chassis. And I think GT3 will as well, because they're even lower than us. So it's really it's really hard for the car and the driver, because you literally can feel the bump.
And presumably, when the chassis is bottoming like that, then you lose traction, because you've got the bottom touching the ground instead of the wheels as much as you would like.
Exactly. So that's then the job of the driver, to keep the car settled and not not affecting balance too much. So it's the driver's job to keep the car in a good balance and the grip right.
So, lap 21, the dust settled on the pit stops now, and Betty Chen in the 91 Mercedes, 91 BMW, excuse me, leading the race, as a little bit of argy-bargy there between the 88 car of Jeffrey Lee and the 25 of Dominic Ang. That's Dominic Ang just unlapping himself there, I think. The Malaysian driver down in 10th position. Jeffrey Lee in second place, and I should think fairly soon he'll have his mirrors full of Nick Yellerly, who is in third place, some 10 seconds behind on that last lap. But when they come through the start-finish line, we'll wait and see what the gap is, because Darrell Young, Jeffrey Lee's teammate, took the pit stop on the previous lap, so we haven't got a representative lap time, but Nick Yellerly a 1:42.8 on that last lap, and Betty Chen, the leader, with a 1:48.3. So Nick Yellerly lapping some 5 or 6 seconds per lap faster than the leader. That is one of the BMWs. That is Betty Chen, your race leader in the 91 BMW. Still holding her own out at the front of the race, with Jeffrey Lee in second place, some 10 seconds behind. Nick Yellerly now just 3 seconds behind Jeffrey Lee, and his last lap was 7 seconds quicker, a 1:43.1. Jeffrey Lee with a 1:50.4. So Nick Yellerly, the pro driver there, taking advantage of his greater experience and really putting the hammer down, Yves.
Yeah, I mean, there's like from their best lap, there's like a second difference. So obviously they're pushing hard to get as much space to the others to have a comfortable lead. As it turned out, it worked really well. I think there's not much going on in the front in the first place, unless there's a safety car coming soon, as we saw in the GT4. Like probably the same thing that could happen. If not, then it will be just a fight between 2, 3, and 4.
Well, Nick Yellerly really putting the hammer down. 1:42.260, his fastest lap on lap 18, currently on lap 22. And there you saw him hopping over the curbs and overtaking Nick Yellerly up into second place. The 88 Mercedes down into third. So Nick Yellerly already making it past Jeffrey Lee and up into second position. So the British driver now setting off in hot pursuit of Betty Chen. There he is in second place, going through this very difficult downhill right-hander that Yves was talking about just now. And Jeffrey Lee now in third place. Now, in the GT4 race this morning, we saw a couple of late race safety cars which really bunched the pack up and really changed the complexion of the race. How would a safety car affect things now, Yves?
Well, obviously, if there's a safety car now, the whole pack will be together again, so there won't be a big gap for Betty to yeah, I think we're gonna get down to the pit and hear what the drivers say.
在我们身边的呢是来自 EWS Craft Bamboo Racing 的 Frank Yu. So Frank, this is a real driver's track, isn't it? So it's really bumpy and really technical. How did it feel in the car on this track?
Yeah, I lost the entire session yesterday, which is really valuable. We had to go straight into qualifying. We had some problem with the oil sump yesterday because the curbs here are really, really high. So went straight into qualifying, and I had a terrible start today. Ran wide in turn 2, and I picked up all the marbles, and it took 2 laps to just clean the tires. So from that point on, it's just trying to keep up with the pace.
So Jasmine's out there just chasing down the pack for you. So best of luck to the number 77. Also fantastic livery, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you AMG China. They provided the car for us this weekend, and hopefully it brings us some good luck.
Thank you and best of luck, Frank. 然后刚才 Frank 也跟我们说呢，他因为练习的时候是由于油泵的问题损失了一节练习的时间，所以说的话也是非常的不幸，然后直接就进到了排位赛的阶段。然后今天的话发车自己也不是非常的满意，在第2弯的时候出弯，然后所以说轮胎上沾了很多的脏东西，所以说的话花了很长时间能够才把轮胎的这个性能够恢复到正常。所以说但是这一次的话也非常感谢 AMG 中国能够给他们一个红猪的这个1971年的一个怀旧的一个涂装，所以说的话也是非常非常的漂亮。所以说我们也祝 Frank 和 Jasmine Jaffa 77号车组好运。好的，接下来我们转回到我们的解说间 ，over back to you guys.
Well, Frank, you there talking about his unfortunate start to the race, but his teammate Jasmine Jaffar's having a better time of things. We saw him just overtake the number 2 Mercedes of Liao Yang. So Jasmine Jaffar in the 77, bright red car, up into 4th place and challenging now, is he? It looks as if he's just on the tail of Jeffrey Lee. Yes, the 2 Mercedes now nose to tail, and it looks as if Jasmine going to be looking for a way past there soon, Yves.
Yeah, definitely think he's going to try now on the brakes. He had a better exit. Yeah, pretty much Jeffrey leaves the space for Jasmine. Now just trying to gain any positions they can in the last 16 minutes.
So Jasmine Jaffar in the 77 Mercedes up into 3rd place. Jeffrey Lee letting him by, not putting up too much of a fight. It's not really his fight, is it, Yves, when you have someone like Jasmine behind you, a professional driver who can drive several seconds a lap quicker. I don't suppose there's any point really trying to keep him behind for any length of time.
No, I don't think so. And also I think they're in the same team as much as I'm aware, so I think it's also not even fighting for it. Just get some team points for the championship, and then.
Well, they're both factory Mercedes AMG drivers. Jasmine Jaffar up into 3rd place in the 77 car. Jeffrey Lee in the 88 car now down into 4th place. Still Betty Chen up at the front in the 91 BMW. But Nick Yellerly closing all the time at the last count, just 1 second behind. We haven't seen them on the track yet. Here we're looking at the 63 car, Adam Christodoulou in 6th place, and now he's challenging the number 2 Mercedes. So lots of action. You can see there the pro drivers who are driving the second portion of this race now starting to stretch their legs and overtake some of the amateur drivers, Yves.
Yeah, I think this will be interesting since I think Adam is a factory driver for Mercedes-Benz using all the track limits there. And it's just, he's just gonna push now. He's really experienced, he's driving in Europe really a lot. So I think we're gonna see a good battle there.
Yeah, and Adam Christodoulou going up the inside there, up into 5th position. And he'll be chasing down the 88 car of Jeffrey Lee. And I should think if he carries on as he has been in the last lap or so, he should be on Jeffrey Lee very quickly indeed and making his way past. Adam Christodoulou's last lap, a 1:44.5, so some 5 seconds a lap quicker than Jeffrey Lee, a 1:49.5.
And he's already up on the back of the 88 Mercedes, so I think there's going to be a change of position happening soon. So we'll see what about that when he will do that. I would assume after the long straight, if not even the hairpin on the hill. We'll see what he's doing. Maybe if he has enough speed up here, he will probably just open up the brakes and just let the car roll in.
Yeah, and you can see him flashing his lights there and going up the inside. So Adam Christodoulou up now into 4th place.
Not really much to do for the 88.
No, not much of a fight there, but here they come down to this tricky downhill right-hander. Adam Christodoulou now in 4th place, Jeffrey Lee in 5th. And there you see the Radical, that is Dominic Ang, the number 25 Radical, just moving to one side, letting some of the other cars by. That is the 66 Mercedes of Min Hung and Lin Nan. And that car down in 11th place at the moment.
It's going to be hard for Adam to catch up with Jasmine, because I think Jasmine is like a 10th quicker now per lap. And as you see, he's pushing hard to get past the 66, not to get any, because he knows that Adam is like also fighting for the podium, and he doesn't want to lose any time to get past the 66 Mercedes.
Yes, it would be good to see Jasmine and Adam having a good battle up front as the 77 car there. That is Jasmine just going and putting a lap on the 66 Mercedes. I wonder if that's just slowed him down. Maybe he's just lost a second or two there.
But you see that Adam is catching up.
And you can see, yes, in the back of your screen there, that is Adam Christodoulou. So catching Jasmine Jaffar, and it would be really good to see those two going at it hammer and tongs, the two pro drivers having a good battle for position. As it stands, Jasmine now in third place, Christodoulou, the 63 Mercedes, in fourth place. And we haven't seen it, but Nick Yellerly has taken the lead from Betty Chen. So as we suspected, Nick Yellerly now up at the front with a 3.3 second lead, lapping some 4 seconds a lap quicker than Betty Chen. So I should think at the front now, Nick Yellerly will be very comfortable, unless, of course, Eve, there's a late race safety car which could bunch the pack up, and that could bring a whole different complexion to the last few minutes.
Well, yeah, definitely, because now we have in the Mercedes, we have the pro drivers in, so that would change everything, really. Obviously, we have in the BMW, we have another pro in, so it would be an interesting end if the safety car would come in early enough to give them a couple of laps to actually fight.
And a safety car would be very bad news indeed for Betty Chen. Of course, she's the amateur driver, and Nick Yellerly ahead of her in first place, and of course the pro driver, Betty Chen in second place, and then Jasmine Jaffar and Adam Christodoulou in third and fourth, also both pro drivers and lapping quite a bit quicker. Adam Christodoulou taking 1.5 seconds out of Jasmine Jaffar on that last lap, although I suspect maybe that's to do with Jasmine just negotiating a bit of traffic, as we look at Nick Yellerly carrying on his merry way at the front.
Yeah, well, but Jasmine and Adam, they're like 2 to 4 seconds quicker than Betty, so that could be also interesting how fast they will actually get past her, if they are even able to, because I think that she's pretty good at defending.
Yeah, there is Betty Chen, the number 91 BMW. She's currently 6 seconds ahead of Jasmine Jaffar, and Jasmine's last lap was 2.7 seconds quicker than Betty Chen. So at the current rate, he should be catching the BMW driver in the next few laps. In fact, we just briefly saw them in the same shot there. That is Betty Chen in the number 91 BMW.
It will be interesting to see how far Adam gets close to, because he's like 4 seconds quicker per lap right now. I think
Adam Christodoulou 4 seconds a lap quicker than Betty Chen. Also, well, on that last lap, 1.5 seconds quicker than Jasmine, and he's only 4 seconds behind the Malaysian driver now, as we look at Betty Chen starting lap 28 with just over 10 minutes to go. So let's see, and let's have a look at the timing. 2.5 seconds now, the gap between Jasmine. There he is. So the Malaysian driver hunting Betty Chen down, catching her, took over 4 seconds a lap out of Betty Chen on that last lap. So Jasmine really put the hammer down. Adam Christodoulou not quite so quick, a 1:44.1. So he lost about 1.5 seconds to Jasmine on that lap.
66 Mercedes, yeah. So he might be, he might just trying to get past them.
Of course, yeah, the 66 Mercedes, and Jasmine lost a bit of time negotiating that car as well. And yeah, the 66 Mercedes clearly not doing its stablemate any favours there. Adam Christodoulou still waiting.
Just do it now on the brakes
to get past. As we look back at Jasmine, and he's right on the back of Betty Chen now, kicking up a bit of dust as they go through the left-hander. Not quite close enough for a move just yet, I shouldn't think. And that is the 92 BMW in 7th place. And let's head back down to the pits and hear more from the drivers.
那么现在在我身旁的呢是来自92号 FIS Team AAI 的陈君华。那么君华呢今天也是从第7的位置直追到第3的位置，然后但是这一棒跑的也是非常的艰辛啊。
一开始前面有一点乱流，然后运气好还被我闪过，然后闪过以后我就保持我的速度，不过后面一直有车过来，然后从头到尾压力说实在非常大，所以我还是跟自己说保持冷静。 然后到最后带回来 pit 的结果还算是不错的，对，剩下的就交给我队友了。
好的，那祝您和月星好运。好，谢谢。So Kevin just told us he During the start, it was a bit of a chaos. So once all is settled, he managed to keep his pace, but he was under so much pressure from Eric Zhang as well as and Coco Shin from the behind. So all three cars were battling for this position. So entire first stint was really difficult for him. But happy to take the car back in P3, and the pit stop was really good. So leave it all to teammate Ivan Lee. So good luck to them both. 好的，接下来时间我们转回到我们的解说间 ，back to you, our commentators.
Well, just as we were talking to Kevin Chen there, we saw Ivan Lee, who you see in your picture now, just having a little bit of a moment, a little bit of a spin, but he seems to have got going again and still circulating in 7th place with just about 8 minutes to go. Up at the front, it's still Nick Yellerly, sitting pretty, now 11 seconds ahead of teammate Betty Chen in the 91 car, and I wonder actually if Jazeman Jaffar in the 77 Mercedes hasn't got past Betty Chen now, because he was extremely close at the last count, just less than a tenth of a second, and we'll soon see if Jazeman is in 2nd place, but I suspect next time we see...
The sector time just came up earlier.
The sector time just came up, so Jazeman Jaffar has got by Betty Chen into 2nd place.
As I just saw in the sector times, Adam is like also right behind her, so that could be an interesting finish. I'm just wondering how much difference actually Adam and Jazeman have, because that would be really an interesting finish to see if they get closer and battle it out until the checkered flag.
Yeah, and we're looking now at the 98 car of Jeffrey Z, currently down in 16th place and in 6th in the GTC category. With 7 minutes to go, one of the cars running a little bit wide there, using all of the track and a little bit more. That's one of the Porsches. As we look at Nick Yellerly, the race leader, and now with an 11-second lead over Jazeman Jaffar. So it looks as if, and that's Jazeman Jaffar on the left-hand side of your picture, just putting a lap on one of the GTC cars, the 75 Lamborghini there. Jazeman up still in 2nd place and up past the 75 Lamborghini. And we've seen in the previous few laps just how difficult it is to negotiate the traffic here at Ningbo when it's such a tight track, Yves.
Yeah, it's pretty hard for both drivers, especially when you overlap, because the communication needs to be right, the understanding of both cars. For the behind driver to know, okay, now he's actually letting me pass. Though sometimes in other race series we have that sometimes that there's a lot of miscommunication going on, and then the end they touch or crash, which obviously nobody wants to see. But yeah, that's really important that the overlapped car is making it clear that he can pass now.
Yeah, Jazeman just hopping over those curbs. We heard from the drivers just earlier in the race how difficult it is and how high you end up going over those curbs. And we've seen a lot of them. And you can see there just how much the car bounces just as with the elevation change, like you were saying, Yves.
Yeah, and you could also just hear the chassis just like touching the floor. It's really hard for the car. As you can see here, I think Adam just got past Betty. Yep.
That is the 63 car, Adam Christodoulou.
So we have Adam on P3 now.
Yes, so Adam Christodoulou up into 3rd place.
So pretty good recovery from the spin Eric had before. So they're back on the podium now.
Yeah, absolutely. So into 3rd place, Betty Chen. There you see the BMW in 4th place. And there's quite a gap between Betty Chen and the number 2 car.
Really pushing, really using those track limits just to gain as much time as possible. To Jazeman, maybe Jazeman will do a mistake or anything will happen. We just keep on pushing for until the last second.
Yeah, 5 minutes to go, and Adam Christodoulou 7.5 seconds behind Jazeman on that last lap. As we look at the number 91 car, that is Betty Chen, just behind one of the Mercedes. The Mercedes car is a lap down. Here we see Adam Christodoulou going up the inside, negotiating that back marker, the same Lamborghini number 75 that we saw Jazeman overtaking just a few moments ago, kicking up a little bit of dust. Adam clearly pushing very hard to try to close that gap to Jazeman in the last stages of the race.
It was a good overtake. He managed to keep the speed on the exit so that the Lamborghini is not overtaking again. So we're going down to the pits and listen to another driver.
Yeah, and let's head down to the pit lane now.
那我们接下来要采访的呢是来自63号的 Toro Racing 的藏坎。那么藏坎呢，在第一棒的话，其实是不是表现的话也是比较艰难的吧？是不是觉得这个赛车的调教还是不是特别的适应自己呢？
其实发车起步还是很好的， 前面2圈我觉得也和后面拉开了差距，但是一点点小的失误，直接掉了3个位置，然后后面因为在后面16号弯、17号弯的时候下坡进弯速度稍微有点快了，所以这个车一下子失控，所以整个车打转在草地上，后面连续2次失误让我们掉到了第7，但是还好我的搭档 Adam 还是比较顺利，现在看下来应该能够确保一个领奖台的席位。
好的，谢谢赞凯，那也祝 Adam 好运。So Eric just told us that he had a really good start and managed to actually keep a gap for the first 2 laps, but unfortunately due to a bit of a mistake, he lost 3 positions and again on turn 6, it was a really rapid downhill and he lost control. So in order and came back into the pit in P7, but his partner Adam Christodoulou is doing a fantastic job at the moment, so they should be able to finish on the podium. So best of luck to them both. 好的，谢谢赞凯。那么接下来的时间，我们转回到我们解说间 ，Back to you guys.
Well, Eric Zhang was just one of a few drivers caught out by that tricky downhill there. I think this is a replay now. Yeah, he just loses it there. Talk us through that, Yves. What happened?
Well, I think he just had a little bit too much speed down the bump, and then you can see the rear snapping out, and then there was obviously the curb and the grass, and at that point he had like no chance. He was pretty lucky that he didn't like went up the hill again and then hit the wall. So just a small spin, but this, you know, this as you can hear even on the car, it's really hard. It's just out of Porsche sliding around. So it's really hard for the car, and then when you have a little bit too much speed, it's just too much for the car to handle, and you lose all the grip and you basically just spin.
Well, they were down in 7th place, but Eric Zhang's teammate Adam Christodoulou has helped to put that car in 3rd position at the moment, and just challenging Jazeman Jaffar, but with just under 2 minutes to go, the gap 6.6 seconds. I don't think that's going to be enough time for Adam Christodoulou to do anything about Jazeman Jaffar in 2nd place, even though he just took a second out of the Malaysian driver. But Jazeman looks pretty set in 2nd place. Nick Yellerly in the number 90 BMW, still in the lead with just a minute and a half still to go. And Betty Chen in 4th place in the 91 BMW, just 15 seconds ahead of, in 5th place, the number 2 car, another Mercedes driven by Liao Yang. In 6th position, it's the 88 car. Darrell Young and Jeffrey Lee currently driving that car. And in 7th position, it's the 3rd BMW. And that is driven by Ivan Lee and Kevin Chen. Meanwhile, here is the leading FIS Team BMW, the number 90 car at the front, driven by Nick Yellerly, the British BMW factory driver. This is his first season in China GT, and he seems to be enjoying himself very much indeed.
Yeah, he has a comfortable lead, so I think he's just, you know, taking the speed out a bit just to save the car, save the tires, just in case anything happens. Because now at this lead, you don't want to risk anything. You don't want to risk any punctures, any technical issues. You know, if you hit the curb too hard, you know, maybe you have something breaks, and that's just what he's probably preventing right now.
And we've seen the last lap board go out, so this is it. Nick Yellerly, all he has to do now is stroke it home. As you said, Yves, he's winding things down a bit. A 1:46.1 his last lap. So Jazeman Jaffar in 2nd place, a 1:43.9. So he lost some 2 seconds there, but I suspect, in fact, there is Jazeman in 2nd place. But I suspect, Yves, as you said, that's probably just Nick Yellerly winding things down and taking it slow to the end of the race.
Yeah, because at this point, you just don't want to like overdo anything. You don't want to like spin or do any mistakes. That's why at this lead, you can, you know, go off the throttle at some corners, just let the car roll around and basically just drive it home safe.
Well, Jazeman Jaffar still pushing fairly hard, a 1:43.9 his last lap. Adam Christodoulou in 3rd place, a 1:42.7, so he's pushing. There you see the last lap board. Confirmation that this is Nick Yellerly's victory lap. The English driver should be coming through as he does a bit of curb hopping around this very tight, twisty section at the back of the track.
Because he's not using any curbs there, so just like the necessary ones to, you know, just keep the car straight through the corners and, you know, easy on the throttle. As you can see, the car's not much oversteering. Also here, really, you know, just let the car roll down there. Here's a big enough gap, so why would you risk anything?
No, well, exactly, and you don't want to bin it, as we saw Several drivers having a bit of problems at that corner early on in the race. No such problems, though, for Nick Yellerly, who comes round, negotiates the last corner, and wins round 3 here at Ningbo in the 2019 China GT Championship. So Nick Yellerly and the BMW FIS team take victory here. Jasmine Jafar coming through in 2nd place. And Adam Christodoulou just crossing the line now in 3rd position. So the 3 pro drivers there, as we might have expected, fill the top 3 places on the grid. Betty Chen should be coming through in 4th position as we look at some of the cars further down the field, some of the GTC cars and the cars in the Porsche one-make category taking the checkered flag there.
It was a good recovery by Adam. Obviously, a lot of work to do to come from there far behind, and I think there's a.
And in 4th place, that is Liao Yang, and Betty Chen just appears to have spun on the last lap. So just as you were saying, Yves, it's important to stroke it home and not make any mistakes on the last lap. Unfortunately, it looks as if Betty Chen has spun out of 4th place. So
oh, that was the last corner.
Oh no, that's well, that's terrible for the young driver.
I just hope that she can let the engine run, didn't stall it. But it looks like she's not moving.
No, I wonder if she was under pressure by the number 2 car on the last lap. I didn't see how close he was behind her, but I wonder if he just pressurized her into a bit of a mistake. But bitter disappointment.
That is really hard for as a driver in the last lap, being on a pretty good position and then just lose in the last corner. That's like, I don't know, it's not even like 100 meters away from the finish line.
No.
That's really frustrating.
Well, bitter disappointment for Betty Chen and for teammate Jodie Fannin, of course, who drove the first portion of the race. Betty Chen still in the car. It doesn't look like that car's going anywhere, so perhaps she has stalled it. How easy? Oh no, has she got it going?
Well, I just saw a roll real quick. That's pretty hard. Obviously, those cars, they don't have like batteries in, so they only have like you need like an additional battery to start up the cars. And once you stall it, you know, sometimes maybe you can't restart it again.
So when you do spin the car like that, how easy is it then to stall the engine?
Well, pretty much it depends on how fast you are with the clutch. Obviously, some other cars like the Audi R8, they have a clutch on the wheel, which makes it a bit easier. But usually it just depends on how fast you are with the foot to actually get on the clutch.
Well, there we see Nick Yellerly, the race leader, just coming into the pits now. And he'll be followed by Jasmine Jafar and Adam Christodoulou.
I think Betty still hasn't moved yet, so that's really disappointing, being on such a good position, actually.
Yeah, and she's done a very good job in the second portion of the race to be racing so competitively and so high up.
Exactly. Now just losing in the last corner, like 100 meters before the line, is just, yeah, it's just really hard.
Yeah, bitter disappointment for Betty Chen. Meanwhile, there we see the top 3 drivers. Hopefully we'll get to hear from some of them very shortly indeed. That is Adam Christodoulou, the 3rd place man, just ready to step out of his car. Eric Zhang there, his teammate.
Yeah, I think Adam did a really good job there, recovering the car like that and putting it on P3. And also Jasmine, obviously, not starting from the front grid, finishing P2 is really good.
And there we see that is Adam Christodoulou coming out there. Him and Eric Zhang congratulating each other. And the BMW drivers there, that is Nick Yellerly.
Obviously, he stayed without any trouble. He kept it clean this race and then had a big, comfortable lead. So that was good. And Betty's still standing there, not moving. So I think she stalled the engine and can't restart it, which is really frustrating for the team after their crash in the GT4 class as well. So a good weekend, they win, and now they lost it again.
Yeah, Nick Yellerly receiving the congratulations of his team there. Of course, the championship leader in the China GT3 category, having won one of the 2 races last time out in Sepang in Malaysia, as we take a close look at the 63 car of Adam Christodoulou and Eric Zhang. And it's amazing to see how these cars, they look so similar to the production cars that you see on the street every day, but once you get inside, Yves, it's a very different kettle of fish to the sort of car that you might pick up from the showroom and drive home.
Yeah, it's nothing like it at all. Like, they just look a little bit from the outside, even though we have like a bit, we have a big wing now, and we have a bigger splitter. But let's hear first of all what's happening down the pit and what the race leaders say.
Yeah, let's hear from the race winners now.
恭喜站在我们身旁的来自90号 FIS Team AI 的2位车手林宇和 Nick Yellowly。然后林宇的话，19年第一次参加 China GT 就旗开得胜，恭喜恭喜！
谢谢谢谢。
有对自己今天的这一棒表现有什么感受吗？
因为我是这个第2位起跑，那我知道这个 AMG 有一些是职业的车手起跑，所以在起跑以后，我就把职业车手先让过去，我就跟着他后面保持自己的节奏，所以带回来每一圈的这个时间也是比较稳定啊，所以给到我队友以后，队友可以很快的去追上前车。
好，谢谢林宇。So Lam Yu said that because he was fighting against quite a lot of pro drivers starting from P2, so all he'd need to do is to sort of keep up the pace and keep the tyres warm and then bring the car back safely to Nick. Nick, what a comeback from, I think, P5 to P1 with 5 seconds to spare. And if my math is correct, you're also first in the championship at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're correct in all of that. Yeah, the car, particularly in the beginning on the newer tyres, was really, really good, and that's when I tried to create my gaps. Also through the traffic, I was pretty aggressive because I knew maybe the others wouldn't be quite as aggressive, so then I'd get a gap. Luckily, we struggled with the tyres when we had the gap at the end, so yeah, all in all, good race, first race together, and nice to bring home another win for BMW and Team AAI.
Congratulations！ 然后 Nick 刚才也跟我们说呢，也是他的话能够从第5位，然后到第1位，然后是非常快的能够超越前面的车。然后虽然最后的话轮胎的性能会有一点点的下滑，但是最后的话其实整体的话对车的表现和队友以及整体车队的表现都是非常的满意。那现在 Nick 的话也是在 GT3 的积分榜上领跑，所以我们恭喜来自 FIS Team AI 的2位车手，恭喜恭喜！那接下来的时间我们转回到我们的解说间 ，Back to you guys.
Well, a good victory there from Nick Yellowly, his second of the season so far in 3 races. And also for his teammate Lin Yu, who is his new teammate for this weekend. Junsun Chen, his teammate last time out in Sepang, not driving this weekend. And how would you rate their performance, Yves?
Yeah, well, it was good managed, like on the overall speed. He just took all the opportunities to keep it clean. And obviously it worked out, as you can see now. And a really big and comfortable lead. And also his teammate did a really good job, just keep the car in a good position, then hand it over to the pro driver, and he just bang on and we're on the speed and just had a really good comfortable lead to the end.
Well, at the end of the race, Nick Yellowly was 5.4 seconds clear of Jasmine Jafar, who himself 5.9 seconds clear of Adam Christodoulou in 3rd place, and those 3 quite ahead of the rest of the pack. And let's go back down to the pit lane now.
那么现在在我身旁的呢是 GTC 车组的冠军，来自68号车组的刘凯和卢思豪。那么首先从刘凯开始吧，今天跑了第1棒，然后昨天的话有一些状况，所以排位赛没有参加，但是今天的话能够以冠军的身份带回，是不是一个非常好的一个回击呢？
对，昨天是我的队友跑的第1回合的排位，其实是有第1回合排位成绩的，所以我们今天在 GTC 组的发车位置还算不错。然后我们之前制定的战术就是说要跑一个2个人最好的平均时间，然后不追求1、2圈的那个最速，所以我们看来目前为止我们的战术还是比较成功的。
好的，谢谢刘凯，恭喜。So 刘凯 just told us that because of an issue in qualifying today, they didn't manage to take part in Q2. But today is a really good comeback for them. They both managed to keep up their pace, and that's they didn't want to sort of chase the fastest lap, but they were really steady and really maintain the good pace. So that tactic actually worked really well for them. 然后卢思豪的话，这次第2加第1，今天真的是挺好的一天呀。
对，挺好的今天。然后首先也很感谢我队友，就是在他第1蹦的时候，他领开了很多的优势给我。然后就是我变成我上去的时候，就是反正就稳住自己，然后就可以了，然后就保持着水准就可以了。然后所以说今天还不错的，就是挺开心。
好的，谢谢卢思豪，恭喜。So Taeho is getting a P2 and P1 today, so very good day in the office for Taeho. So he said that many thanks to teammate Liu Kai for bringing the car back in P1 with a really good gap. So all he needs to do is just to maintain that gap and keep up his pace and finish the job. So very happy day for both of them. So congratulations and back to our commentators. 那么接下来的时间我们转回给解播间。
Yes, victory for Lo Tseho and Liu Kai in their Extreme Motorsports Radical in the GTC category. And Yves, two drivers that you know very well.
Yeah, I know Liu Kai since a couple of years now, so he's obviously a good driver, and also both of them are driving the KTM and the GT4, so they're both really good drivers, and yeah, making my life a bit harder on the track. But you know, they're fair, cool guys to drive with and keep the race always clean and have a good battle with. And as you can see now in the GTC, they did the same thing and just got a comfortable lead.
And I've often wondered what that Radical is like to drive, because it looks so different from the other cars, the BMWs and the Mercedes that you see on the GT3 grid.
Yeah, I've never actually driven one before, but I assume it's a little bit like Formula cars. You know, it's a bit, you know, like steel cockpit and everything. It's a little bit more stiff and harder. So I assume it's more like a Formula than an actual, like, you know, like an AMG GT or an R8 or, you know.
Well, confirmation now of the final result. Nick Yellerly and Lin Yu winning the race. Jasmine Jafar, Frank Yu in second place. Adam Christodoulou and his teammate Eric Zhang in third. Fourth place, after that unfortunate spin by Betty Chen. Fourth place was Kuo Shin and Liao Yang. In fifth place, the number 88 car of Darrell Young and Jeffrey Lee. In sixth place, the 92 BMW of Ivan Lee and Kevin Chen. And there you see poor old Betty Chen and Jodie Fannin, her teammate, down classified in 16th place after that very unfortunate spin. As we see the rest of the categories, the rest of the GTC runners, and also in the Porsche, the one-make Porsche category that we have new for this round here this weekend. Steve Yin, obviously in the 52 car, we saw him pulling off fairly early on, so unfortunately problems for the American driver there. But overall, some good racing this afternoon, Yves.
Yeah, definitely. It was an interesting race. A lot of things happened, as we can see now in the highlights. There was a lot of crashes in the beginning, but also good strategies from the Pro and Am drivers, which make the race pretty much interesting.
Yeah, some interesting tactical switches with the Pro-Am pairings as well. Some of the Pro drivers going first and some deciding to go second. And here we see the start, and you can see the BMW on the outside there, just running a little bit wide and then getting caught up in the traffic. Yeah,
and Darrell just took the advantage, just going inside. Here you see the overtake from the BMW. And then, you know, from that point on, he just kept pushing and extended his lead.
Yeah, some a wonderful impression of speed as they go through curb hopping there, and a good battle. We had this good battle for several laps, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, all line astern. The 92 car of Kevin Chen at the front of that crew, and then a lot of squabbling over various positions. You see the two Mercedes there, the number 2 and the 63 car going hammer and tongs, all passing and repassing each other.
When it comes to spin.
That's the spin from Eric Zhang, a very unfortunate moment for him there.
We had a good recovery afterwards with Adam, and then here we have another fight where the two overtook the Mercedes. I know here we have an onboard.
And the 307 car, unfortunately, had to retire. There you see the gull-wing doors, very striking feature of that Radical, as we headed into the mid-race pit stops. And then that is Nick Yellerly taking the lead there from the number 2 car. The 68 Radical there of Liu Kai and Lo Tseho that ultimately was to win in the GTC category, the two drivers we just heard from. And then poor old Betty Chen at the very last corner appeared to have spun and stalled, and unfortunately was unable to take the flag. Bitter disappointment for the young driver, but no such problems for Nick Yellerly, who cruised home pretty much unopposed to score his second win in 3 races here in the 2019 China GT season. Being congratulated there by his mechanics, congratulating him on a job well done. And there, Nick Yellerly and his teammate Lin Yu, new for this weekend, as we go up to the podium ceremony.
Hello， 大家好，欢迎您来到2019赛季中国超级跑车锦标赛宁波站 GT3 组第1回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of GT3 Class at the Round 1 of China GT Championship in Ningbo。首先，让我们有请本场的冠军车队，来自于 FIS Team AAI。Let's welcome the winning team of the class, FIS Team AAI。有请本场的第3名车手组合，来自于 DC Racing Adam Cristodolo 和藏坎。The second runner-up goes to from DC Racing Adam Cristodolo and Eric Zhang。有请本场的第2名车手组合，来自于 EWS Craft Bamboo Racing Zesman Jeffer 和 Frank Yu。The runner-up goes to from EWS Craft Bamboo Racing, Zesman Jeffer and Frank Yu。有请本场的冠军车手组合，来自于 FIS Team AI Nick Yellowly 和 Lin Yu。The champion goes to from FIS Team AI Nick Yellowly and Lin Yu。有请本场的最快圈速，来自于 EWS Craft Bamboo Racing Jasmine Jeff。有请本场的颁奖嘉宾，来自于米其林亚太赛事总监狄月池先生。Let's welcome a prisoner to F4 Top 3 Place Getters, Michelin Asia Pacific Motorsport Director, Mr. Patrick Yates。
Even better tomorrow, guys.
We will. We'll be there. We will. Thank you very much. Sorry for burning your tires.
Get him.
It's okay. I'm too tall.
There we go.
Sorry.
来看这里。来，到小马线。后面能看后面。
获奖的车手。那现在留给我们车手的是香槟的时间 ，Now is the champagne time。
又一天了，换件衣服又一身。
又一身。
非常有意思一点，我们看到 GTL 拿着他的那个奖杯是反着，其实这个奖杯真的非常非常的重，因为制作非常的精良。其实我第一次看到这个奖杯想上去去拿一下的时候，第一下一只手居然没有把它拿下来，所以我没有想到它真的那么重。所以它的整个制作非常的精良，所以刚刚那个小细节，我看到尼克是把它拿过，反过来拿的，这样的话可以用底座稍微的去拿的稍微轻便一点点。那也希望如果大家真的非常的喜欢赛车的话，也有机会站到 China GT 中国超级跑车锦标赛的最高领奖台上面来摸一摸这个真的制作非常精良，并且非常有价值有意义的这个奖杯。
人站起来你就往这前面走点。
那刚才也提到了，除了刚才我们看到 GT3 组别的全场的这个颁奖之外，我们接下来还会有。
好的，那么接下来我们将继续为您颁发的是2019赛季中国超级跑车锦标赛宁波站 GT3 Pro M 组第一回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of GT3 class, GT3 PA class at the Round 1 of China GT Championship in Ningbo。首先有请本场的第3名车手组合，来自于 DC Racing。Adam Cristolo 和藏坎。The second run-up goes to from DC Racing, Adam Cristolo and Eric Zhang。有请本场的第2名车手组合，来自于 Craft Bamba Racing, Jasmine Jaffer 和 Frank Yu。The runner-up goes to from Craft Bamba Racing, Jasmine Jaffer and Frank Yu。有请本场的冠军车手组合。来自于 FIS Team AI Nick Yellowly 和林玉 The champion goes to from FIS Team AI Nick Yellowly and 林玉。有请我们本场的颁奖嘉宾，来自于米其林亚太赛事总监狄月池先生。Let's welcome our president to Edward Top 3 Place Getters, Michelin Asia Pacific Motorsport Director, Mr. Patrick Diaz。Okay, please.
Picture? Yeah.
好的，恭喜我们的获奖的车手。那么现在留给我们车手的是香槟的时间。Now is the champagne time.
正好，其实，在 GT3 组别里面，全场冠军和 Pro AM 正好是相同的3个车组，所以我们看到刚才这6位车手上来之后，相对来说都比较淡定，尤其是刚才全场冠军、全场亚军、全场季军，他们都已经拿过了。那接下来将会是 GT3 组别 AM 组的颁奖。所以，包括刚才大家看到几位车手很淡定的是，直接就下去了，都没有喷香槟。
好，那么接下来我们将继续为您颁发的是2019赛季中国超级跑车锦标赛宁波站 GT3 绅士组第1回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of GT3 AM class at the Round 1 of China GT Championship in Ningbo。首先我们有请本场的第3名车手组合，来自于 YC Racing 闵恒和林楠。The second run-up goes to from YC Racing 闵恒 and 林楠。好的，接下来让我们有请本场的第2名车手组合，来自于 FIS Team AAI 李月勋和陈君华。The second run-up goes to from FIS Team AAI Evan Lee and Kevin Chen。有请本场的冠军车手组合，来自于 D2 车队郭国信和廖阳。The champion goes to from D2 Racing 郭国信 and 廖阳。让 让我们有请本场的颁奖嘉宾，来自于金港股份副董事长兼联席总裁苗立国先生。Let's welcome our prisoner to award top 3 place getters, Vice Chairman of Golden Port Enterprises, Mr. 苗立国。好的，谢谢我们的颁奖嘉宾和恭喜我们的获奖的车手。那么接下来留给我们的车手是香槟的时间。不能再颁错了啊 ！Now is the champagne time. Woo!
接下来我们也将会非常期待，其实所有车手在明天第4回合 GT3 组别的比赛，因为其实，在去年的规则里面，他们会由今天第3回合的最终的结果、比赛结果去决定第4回合的排位。那但是今年的规则改动之后，将会在其实这一次是星期4，在星期4的第2节排位赛里面。去决定大家在第4回合的一个起跑的成绩，所以其实明天更加的一个扑朔迷离的一个这样的一个状态，因为其实第1回合和第2回合的排位都会分别有2位不同的车手去进行驾驶，来去决定第1和第2回合，所以我相信明天整一个的竞争会更加的激烈，因为其实在明天，我们一起来看一下，在明天的 GT3 组别。杆位起跑的将会是郭国庆和廖阳，所以这个对于明天的比赛来说，对于郭国庆和廖阳，其实相信明天也将会是一个非常非常好的一个登上领奖台的一个机会。
好的，欢迎来到2019赛季中国超级跑车锦标赛宁波站 GTC 第1回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of GT3 Class at the Round 1 of China GT Championship 2019 in Ningbo。首先，让我们有请本场的冠军车手组合、冠军车队，来自于 Extreme Motorsport。The winning team of the class, Extreme Motorsport。有请本场的第3名车手组合，来自于 Extreme Motorsport Dominic Ang 和宋波。The second runner-up goes to from Extreme Motorsport Dominic Ang and Song Bo。有请本场第2名车手组合，来自于 YC Racing 黄希展和王涛。The runner-up goes to from YC Racing, CJ Huang and Wang Tao。有请本场的冠军车手组合，同样来自于 Extreme Motorsport 刘凯和卢思豪。The champion goes to from Extreme Motorsport 刘凯 and 卢思豪。 有请我们的颁奖嘉宾，来自于金港股份副董事长兼联席总裁苗立国先生。Let's welcome our president to Edward Top 3 Play Skaters, Vice Chairman of Golden Port Enterprises, Mr. 苗立国。好的，请我们的颁奖嘉宾留在台前，与我们的获奖车手合影留念。好，谢谢我们的颁奖嘉宾。那么同样恭喜我们的获奖车手。现在是我们的香槟的时间 ，Now is the champagne time。
发挥非常的稳健，虽然发车的位置并不是非常的理想，可能没有达到自己的预期，但是在整个正赛的节奏里面，可以说是保持着非常快的这样一个节奏。非常出色的是拿到了全场第7 GTC 组别冠军的这样一个位置。所以我们看到在赛后采访的时候，卢思豪也是非常的满意自己在今天的第3回合，不管是在 GT4 组别还是在 GTC 组别的这个表现，那拿下2个领奖台。所以这也让我们更加的期待，在明天第4回合的时候，看一下 GTC 组别在这一场第4回合，因为会有不同的车手在不同的排位赛里面做出来的成绩，看一下会不会有一些更加激烈的表现。包括我们可以一起再期待一下，包括像918号郑婉成、周碧煌，包括像崔越、Lawrence Liu 等等他们的表现，因为其实从今天看起来这几台赛车非常的接近，并且像其实918号赛车如果中间没有一些 spin 的这样情况出现的话，我相信他们会处在非常有竞争力的一个位置。那刚才大家看到是 GTC 组别的全场颁奖，那接下来我们还会有 Pro AM 以及 AM 组别以及保时捷组别的颁奖。
接下来我们将继续为您颁发的是2019赛季中国超级跑车锦标赛 GTC Pro AM 组第1回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of GTC Pro AM Class at the Round 1 of China GT Championship 2019 in Ningbo。首先，让我们有请本场的冠军车手组合，来自于 Extreme Motorsport Dominic An 和宋波。The second runner-up goes to from Extreme Motorsport Dominic Ang and Song Bo。有请本场第2名车手组合，来自于崔越和 Lawrence Liu。The runner-up goes to from 69 Racing Team 崔越 and Lawrence Liu。有请我们的本场的颁奖嘉宾，来自于金港股份副董事长兼联席总裁苗立国先生。Let's welcome our president to Edward Top 3 Play Skaters, Vice Chairman of Golden Port Enterprises, Mr. 苗立国。 好的，请我们的颁奖嘉宾留在台前，与我们获奖车手合影留念。好，好，谢谢我们的颁奖嘉宾。那么接下来留给我们车手的是香槟的时间。Now is the champagne time. 好，那接下来您将继续看到的是2019赛季中国超级跑车锦标赛宁波站 GTC 绅士组第1回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of GTC AM Class at the Round 1 of China GT Championship 2019 in Ningbo。首先，让我们有请本场的第3名车手组合，来自于 YC Racing 郑婉成和周碧煌。Let's welcome the second runner-up goes to from YC Racing, 郑婉成 and 周碧煌。有请本场第2名车手组合，来自于 YC Racing 黄希展和王涛。The runner-up goes to from YC Racing, CJ 黄 and 王涛。有请本场的冠军车手组合。来自于 Extreme Motorsport 刘凯和卢思豪。The champion goes to from Extreme Motorsport 刘凯 and 卢思豪。有请我们本场的颁奖嘉宾，来自于懂车帝形象大使王开。Let's welcome our president to award top straight place getters from image ambassador of the car, Miss Nico. 好的，请我们。好的，请我们的颁奖嘉宾留在台前，与我们的获奖车手合影留念。好的，那您接下来将继续看到是2019赛季中国超级跑车锦标赛宁波站单一品牌组第1回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of one make class at the round 1 of China GT Championship in Ningbo。有请我们本场的第3名车手组合，来自于经纬雨果车队 Steve Yin。The second runner-up goes to from Eagley Racing Team, Steve Yin. 有请本场第2名车组合来自于69车队 Daniel Liu 和 Jack Wu。The runner-up goes to from 69 Racing. 王开女士 Let's welcome our president to the Edward Top Straight Play Skaters, Image Ambassador of D-Car, Nico. 好的，谢谢我们的颁奖嘉宾，同样恭喜我们的获奖车手。那接下来留给车手的是香槟的时间。Now it's the champagne time.